more connected we are with nature and everything around it, right? The more we're able to trust our intuition, right? So the more times you trust yourself where you get into something, you're like, oh, well, next time I'm in a situation like that, I know how I'm going to respond because you've seen it before, right? You can trust your gut. You're more in tune. And so when we think about, water, it's literally the same as this. Like we are the water. And so whether it's our unconscious thoughts or it's our conscious thoughts, right, with our self-talk, our actions, our behavior, what we justify, how we feel. All of those things have an impact on us. Same as power posing, right? It was another way to show us, like, hey, if you're feeling down, like sit up, open up, it will change how you feel. These are just some of the tools that highlight again, like we can get upset, we can feel bad, we can have things happen, like it's part of life. But just like in this video, it's important that, we say we want to do something, we have to follow through at all the levels. So that's not just, well, I'm going to think more about it. That means I got to write it out. I can't just write it out though. I also got to do it. I got to walk, right? I got to go step by step. And so, one of the biggest things, again, while we keep coming back to the self-talk, is just like with Micah, you gotta chase your words. You gotta be very mindful of them. Don't let the negative slip out. Right. And it's in every sentence. I remember literally, and not saying to do this, but when I was away at the school in the States, one of the things for one of the professors, anytime somebody spoke and said like in a sentence that was not the specific definition for like, she would ring a bell. You'd have to change what you're saying. Right. And again, it was annoying, especially at the beginning of the year, where it's like, oh, just ringing this bell in the middle of everybody talking. But the point is, when you do something like that, is to disrupt your thinking. So in the middle of Asia talking, when he was like, no, don't say that, or change what you're saying, it's to disrupt what you're doing. Right. The same as when we talk about disputing negative thinking. What's the first thing? Well, we're aware of it and then disrupt it. Don't get stuck in the negative thought. Quick, how do we dispute it? Well, come up with some positives, come up with some gratitudes, change how we're thinking, adjust the language. But the biggest thing, especially when we think about spiraling, is very easy. From my personal experience, from all of our personal experiences, when we have a bad day, if we don't do anything, guess what? It's real easy to have a worse day, right? Where the energy today is just going to be the same. It takes energy for us to flip it around, right? Getting a no. I know for myself, one easy example, here when we didn't get a contract, I was like, well, this could ruin my week or my day or especially if you put a bunch of time and energy into something. But it's the power of let me put a stop, right? That's why we say hit pause. You gotta disrupt whatever's going on and be intentional so that way, hey, like I don't like how I'm feeling or I'm upset about this. Do I want to stay like this or am I gonna win the day? Right. And that's why we really talk about this stuff, like literally everything is step by step. You get up out of bed, it's a win. Like you gotta treat it as a win. You drink water, that's 2 wins. You make your bed, right? That's 3 wins. Like literally, there are no small things in life. When I realized that, to me, that was my biggest breakthrough. I'm like, oh damn, like there's no small things because everything adds up. Right? You're like, oh well, I'm only a minute late. I'm gonna try to find the proverb. I think it's a Japanese proverb, and it's basically like highlighting that all small things. And I'm gonna stop talking because I want to get into the group work. I just want to highlight this. Like the proverb is like, there's nothing small, right? So, the example is like somebody, this farmer or blacksmith or whatever, like didn't have a good day, so he didn't make the horseshoes, right? So because he didn't make the horseshoes, the person who came to get the shoes for the horse wasn't able to use that horse. Because that person wasn't able to use that horse, somebody wasn't able to buy the horse, right? Because they weren't able to use the horse and buy it, the letter that the messenger was going to use didn't get delivered. Because the letter didn't get delivered, they lost the war, right? And so it's like each of the steps along the way wasn't that big of a deal, but because the horseshoes didn't get made, all of the other things that came after it were possible, right? They lost the war not just because of this person, but because of all of the other things, right? And it's like that in everything in our life, right? Trust me, there's hella days where like myself, vulnerably, I'm like, oh, I could sleep in. I ain't trying to get up, or I'm not trying to do this. I don't want to drive outside the city. Being real, I don't. There's different times, right? Like one of the other days, just to kind of put stuff in perspective, I went to bed at 4:30 in the morning, 4:40 in the morning. Got up at 5. like, right? 30, 40 minutes of sleep, period. That's it. And I got ready to go back to work. And I worked for half a day, right? Like, you don't always, and again, not saying that you should not sleep, not saying that kind of stuff, but the fact is we're always in control of some of this stuff. We're always going to be tired. There's always, especially if you have kids or family, there's always going to be a reason not to do something. Right? And that's why when we talk about it, just keeping it real, budgeting, right? We have to budget. If we're saying we want a goal, then we have to budget our time and our energy to what? Make that goal a priority, right? If I say this is my goal, but I budget no time and energy towards it, and I fully focus on this, that really wasn't my goal. It just sounded good or felt good to say it, right? And then it sets us up for failure. So that's why it's so important to really recognize, like, each step of the way, everything Gina's been through, everything you've been through has turned you into who you are. Some of those things weren't fun. Some of those things might have been terrible, but also all of those things created you to be who you are. And it influences how you interact with people, right? If I never had a major surgery or major injuries, I wouldn't be able to relate with other people that have gone through serious trauma. If I never lost a loved one or had serious trauma happen to me, I couldn't relate to other people in the same way, right? So you get compassion, you get experience, you get wisdom, but it happens from some things that you don't always realize it comes from, right? And so that's why when we continue to say, you gotta be open, because budgeting is not just about the money. It's literally about our time, our energy, and it's our lives, right? Just quick, because we gotta get to the recap. The easy budgeting, the numbers. If we want to make X amount per year, that's how much it is a month, right? It's easy, right? Even saying, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'll ever get a down payment for $10,000. Well, what does that mean for a year or for a couple years, right? If I have a partner, if there's two of us, obviously it's in half, right? But if I can save $100 of how I spend a month, I don't have to make $200. I'm just going to make $100 because I already saved 100, right? How do we budget? So getting back into our credit conversation, where we left off yesterday. In a second, just trying to, just the power of interest, right? And I'm gonna leave this up so that way we'll get everybody into the breakouts. You'll have a discussion on Micah, and then you'll do your reflections, and then we'll get back into the content. But I just want to highlight this, right? And it's, again, credit is not just about the money, right? When we think about it, sometimes stuff, especially if it's an investment, it costs more upfront. Right? For me to get to where I am right now, the things I had to sacrifice in my business, most likely I don't have to sacrifice them 5 years from now because I did that now, right? Stuff does get easier, but the power, right? Just like we talked about, two kids from the same household, two different experiences, two different ways to see life, right? Two the same folks, they buy in the same loan, but because of how they budget, this loan for this person is costing them $200 extra a month. And that's $12,000, basically $13,000 more over 5 years. That's crazy, right? So the small things add up, right? Oh, a low interest rate. Okay, cool. Or, oh, an interest rate. I ain't really worried about it. Once we take a step back, oh my gosh, $12,000, right? So it adds up. Let's do our groups. So everyone, whether you take your laptop or just your notebook, you got to get up, stretch, and find a spot. Let's just keep it basic with the groups. I mean,
Just 5 and 4.
yeah. How you want to split it? Obviously, online folks is online.
We'll do, yeah, just do it like
Three,
this.
yeah.
Oh, we could do, I guess we could do
Yeah.
3 groups, yeah.
Yeah. Grab a group,
That's
Eddie.
it, that's better math than I do.
Grab a group.
You? Take 2 people with you.
Well, where am I going? We're sitting right here.
No, come around.
I don't know where you're going, but you can't stay here.
No. You don't have to go home.
On the Zoom, she like, I don't gotta move.
That's it. Who's your group?
Whoever wants to follow.
That's per group.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Okay, it's Akai, Jasmine.
Gone.
Betty, who's your two?
You know, before my stuff.
Adrian, Jamal. or Angela and Jamal, whoever's quicker.
You are talking about the guest speaker.
Okay. I thought so, but it wasn't.
I got to go with that. Yes. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Angela, are you gonna go with Eddie?
Pardon me?
Are you gonna go or is Asia gonna go with Eddie?
Oh, don't mind.
Camille and Asia.
Oh, then yeah, Asia, you stay with Gina and Camille. We're too slow.
Yeah, you guys go somewhere else then.
I thought we were doing 2 groups.
No, it's three.
It changed.
3 groups of 3.
That dream died.
No, it didn't.
Exactly.
Okay, Nafisa and Hussein, right now we're just doing group breakouts. So
Okay.
Nafisa, where you were the only one here for Micah, maybe you can recap some of the stuff for Hussein. Hussein still has to watch the video later. But that way you guys can just have a discussion about what was the conversation, what were some things that you heard, learned, and take away. And then Hussein, you can just try to take some notes and think
Okay.
about what that means for you. And I will just mute us over here so you won't hear us, and we'll turn the volume down so we won't hear you. If you need us, just type in the chat, but we're gonna spend about 20 minutes on the breakout, and then folks are gonna start typing the reflections.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Sister Nafisa, would you give me in just 5 minutes? I gotta go to the.
Yeah, I have to refresh my notes too. Yeah.
I'll send you a message when I get back.
Okay.
Right, that's his third degree.
Mike.
It was North American Studies, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a Master in Arts in North American Studies.
What?
Can't take you nowhere. I don't-
Let's get you to write reflections.
Because apparently nothing because.
Keep it down in my face about my English, and I said, listen, I write songs. I know English.
You see what's yelling at my face? You see how he takes, you see how he takes this guy?
Yeah, I said, look, he said, same thing you from his president, he talked to the wrong one, cause I'm from the witches in the woods. I'll tell you, 100 times.
What was it? You said Master of Arts?
Master of Arts in North
Yeah,
American.
North American Studies. You got 2 bachelors and a master's.
Yeah, yeah. I wish he would have talked about that journey more, cause he said he was everywhere, so that's like how do you navigate that?
So why didn't you ask?
That's why you gotta listen to Jamal's question. Jamal made him break it out.
Jamal
Yeah,
was
Jamal
great.
asked like a bunch of questions. Where were you at?
He was still feeling good about being from East Justin. He missed the
Jamal
rest.
said, how did you get your American behind here? That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
He said, we didn't want you. That's what he said.
He said, what did you, what is your, you lived all over the place.
They didn't want you.
Oh my god.
Andreas, what's wrong with your friend?
I'm trying to figure
No,
that
that was
out.
great. Yeah.
Trying to figure that out.
Oh, shoot.
The fella that was banging over there, he's from East Preston. He was. I told you, I seen him. He's the only white boy from East Preston.
None of that. Did the other groups? I know Santino.
His name Tom.
Well, there's only 2 groups. You said. Did everybody else already journal? Told right on you. Yeah. We heard.
Reflection. The
Yeah,
writing the
some
reflections.
groups did the reflections, but other groups didn't finish the reflections. That's what I'm trying to check.
Oh, we done.
You wrote
You
it
guys-
down?
you wrote your
We just
reflections.
have to, we have them in our books. We just have to put them in
Like our
the docs.
But Angela just looked a little bit like she was trying to
I
be
know she
sneaky
over
over
there
there.
before.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
No, she did. Remember, she was asking questions. Yeah, she had.
They're ready to
But I
start.
got I
Yeah,
did
she-
actually.
Angela had all
my
I believe it.
reflections
That's why I'm
yeah.
checking.
Yeah, Angela had all kinds.
Like, here's my reflection right there.
Well, why don't you kick us off? Give us a few words and then pass it to someone. Not Asia, but put someone on the spot.
A few
Wait till
words.
Asia's
I didn't know you didn't take your glasses off to read.
She getting serious.
Asian Gina.
what's the-
We're starting.
What can you see?
We're starting.
Don't.
She got glow in the dark eyes.
Oh, psychology. Bachelor's in
She
psychology.
got glow in the dark eyes.
And I don't, sociology.
No, science, social.
No, I can't.
You might get the glasses back. Are those blue, what them things? Blue light?
Oh, where the blue
These
light
are
glasses at?
Far distance. I got you.
I know. This way.
Guess what?
Hey, your birthday's Friday,
Yeah.
and we have a potluck still?
Oh, you weren't here. No, that got pushed. That got pushed.
We got veto, but yeah.
Wait, so,
No.
because you don't have the room?
Well,
wanted to cook.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
it's not like you were looking for it, like, you know, the stove and bring it home.
The guy got to go back to the kitchen for your own cookies that he brought. He could just left them in his bag.
Oh.
Did you eat the chicken you brought?
No, I'm here, I'm
Oh,
here.
Did you know we said no?
Yeah.
It was pain. Pain in that voice right there. It got pushed. We're still gonna do it to Kai. We're still gonna do it. It's just not this week.
It's not grocery week to Kai.
Are we gonna be in person on Friday?
We gotta be in person.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you gotta yell to the online folks. It's on.
I got professional football player, and I like how he was very straightforward, getting down to the point, like how he asked what you're passionate about, then he broke it down into steps and how you could turn that passion into a job and get paid for doing it. And like how he told me about the e-sport scholarship over at school, that's one thing I didn't know. So I'll probably go home and research it after my nap. Then he said, what else did he say? He said that, phrase, forgot what I was gonna say.
That's why you wrote it down.
Don't, like,
Oh, honest, open and transparent, hot. That's
Mm.
one thing I've had.
Yeah, you fellas love that. Right?
I've had-
You guys like Mad J songs. You guys like that.
Jealous of
Right.
else gets his words.
Right?
That's a great segue to guy. Who you passing it to?
But that's.
Oh,
that he made.
he passed it to you.
That's me.
That was sneaky.
I mean, Mike is the quarterback.
Is that what you played? Quarterback?
Michael
Ask him.
was, he was full of energy.
Aye.
Motivator.
Oh, that's insane.
Motivator,
Hello.
when what got me the talk was when he said, the goal is to win. So, that led me to think about, doing the small things and to get to the big things in life. What did you think about him, Jazzy?
Just gonna win the day.
I think he was very consistent on what he was saying. He gave lots of great information on communication, discipline, and the fundamental rules of the way we use, sorry, the way we use discipline in our everyday life. And yeah. And he said, just do it, and fair, as Angela was saying, he said something for fair. Yeah, it was good. Oh, go, Ben.
Oh,
I'm gonna pass
I
it
was
to
gonna
you.
say, I like when he said stand on your business.
Yeah, oh, I wrote that down.
And instead of, no, you either wake up or you press snooze. You know what I mean?
Honestly, a lot of conversations you should just start and end with that. That's a difference maker.
No, because I was talking, so he turned. it.
Oh, okay.
Oh my, you can't share the spotlight.
I just looked up and I seen myself.
How? You got the glasses on.
Oh my goodness, look, now you in the hot seat.
No, stop saying hot.
Hot,
See, now you fucking get on my
That's
nerves
it.
with that.
that's it.
How you getting home?
Alright, that was a good one, that woke me
I'll
up.
ask Asia. I gotta ask Asia. I can't be asking.
Isn't
you. I
that
gotta
Meals
ask
on
Asia.
Wheels over here?
Santino. You up?
You wanna turn this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, for me, very directly impacted me when you asked me what's my passion. So right from there, I had more questions for my damn self. So right from there, I was paying attention to just about everything you were saying. What I got from it was I need to figure out what I'm doing, how I'm doing, like what direction I'm going, don't know how I'm getting there, but he left me more motivated with more intention than what I had before I met him. A lot more on this paper, but just give me guys a brief. He just, how can I put this? Not reading this off. Basically, he helped me understand that, like, not doing anything and just sitting on it wasn't gonna work. It just isn't gonna work. You gotta just do it if you're gonna do it. Does it challenge me? Yeah, definitely. One more question. Say more?
It was like, who, me or Asia?
I'm still trying to sort.
I thought that, Micah was really good. I really enjoyed, everything that he shared with us. And
You know, like what some of the things that he experienced in life. Um, it was definitely interesting, knowing that he lived in Germany and him like actually being able to like try to, you know, hold a conversation with you that I didn't even know that. And I didn't even know you was from Germany. I don't know why I didn't know that you were from Germany. Like, that's just. I did not, like, I really, yeah, I don't know.
Where were you born, Gina?
In Lebanon. Lebanon?
Yeah.
See, that's where I thought.
So how long did you live in Germany?
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Where'd you go to school? Both?
But, yeah, so that was cool now, I didn't know that. Let me see, so many people. One thing that stuck up to me the most was they start saying no first. And I really liked when he was telling us about how at the beginning of his, like him starting his business, like he had like, you know, offers and things like that. And he said no because you know, he had to figure out himself and his brand, which is really important. Because like, you know, I can't expect somebody to invest in me if I don't know what so that was nice to know. When he said you gotta own it and stay on your business, that was also like a really good reminder as well, because, you know, every time these guest speakers come in, they're constantly reminding us that we are our own brand, even though we're not a brand, you're still you, you know, you're the brand to other people and meet people and interact with people, you know. Setting boundaries as well and stand on your word and being intentional. And that's not even just standing on my word, like say if I say that I'm gonna like hang out with somebody and then the day comes and I'm a little tired, but we maybe go later tomorrow, like that's even when Takai said waking up early. If I say tomorrow I wanna wake up and have a good breakfast, wake up and do it. Or if I say I don't wanna drink coffee, like just stop making like little excuses, just doing it. Like, do you know how many times I was sitting there in the shower getting ready for school and I was like, I'm not gonna buy Tim Hortons. As soon as I walk past that Tim Hortons, who ends up getting in line? Me. So it's just like really like standing on my word and my business, like, because at the end of the day, it's not gonna affect anybody's life but mine.
Right.
So, yeah. But other than that, he was really good, and I would definitely be going to his gym sometime soon.
Who you pass it to?
Okay.
You skipping Gina?
Hi, Gina say.
Straight off in here.
Good speaker. Give a lot of attention and emotion. Yeah, and I like the way he questioned for all of them, yeah. What they want, yeah.
Oh, he definitely put us on the spot,
Yeah.
for sure.
That works, yes.
So what? That baby coming on smiling. I'm telling you right now. That baby is smiling. All right.
Where's Nafisa? Nafisa.
Yeah.
Oh, we have it quiet. We're just sharing back some of our thoughts about the guest speaker, Micah.
Okay. Sorry, I was still writing the reflection.
That's all
Okay.
good.
So the speaker talked about following your passion and working consistently. he stressed the importance of making positive decisions every day, setting goals, staying organized, and managing finances were key points. So the idea of being a champion in all aspects of life resonated. So the talk emphasized the impact of how you make others feel, and it says also like maintaining a balance between work and personal life, especially when working with a partner. Yeah, that's what I like.
Thank you, Nafisa. Gee, I mean, Hussein, it sounds like you probably got the whole recap from Nafisa, so that's good. I will still send you the video link. But I think it's important, you know, for all of us when we think about, again, like every guest speaker, you know, what their actual business is might not be what you're interested in. But every single guest speaker, just like every single person we meet, has different richness, has different uniqueness, has different magic in their words, in their story, or their life, that we can take. We can take those things and use them as building blocks for ourselves to make it easier. You know, and I think that's especially, you know, when we look at like, you know, when he was vulnerable about, you know, some of his experiences growing up, right? Or when we think about, you know, Dennis talking about, you know, losing his father and then coming to a whole new country, you know, like there's, you know, there are no small things, right? There are so many risks just in our everyday, right? Like, you know, as some folks said, like literally, you know, one of the risks is like you could get up or you could hit snooze, but the snooze button is still a risk.
Yeah.
Right? Or, you know, when we think about risks in school, it's like, oh, I'm gonna try new things, but doing new things is a risk. The biggest risk is to do nothing. Right? The most expensive thing you can do, and that's why Santino, when we were talking about registering a business, if you have an idea or a goal, or you're trying to do a business, the most expensive thing for you to do is to do nothing. Right? Because the cost of, after doing nothing for so long, the cost of changing, the cost of starting goes up. Right? Whether it's, oh, I gotta overcome way more negative self-talk. I gotta overcome all my fear, all my anxiety, all these other things that if I did it earlier, it would be a little bit less or be a little bit easier. So there's always gonna be a cost. Tomorrow we're gonna pick up the conversation and really continue into the housing side, into really getting into credit. So our goal is that we're online tomorrow at 9 a.m. Make sure you're there early, not late. Make sure you come with some questions because we're going to be doing the same thing as with like the budgeting. It's going to be very activity focused and very much focused on groups because that's how we can try the stuff on, you know, get our voices and really get things down, not just onto the paper, but into the actions. So we're going to look at what credit, what, you know, TFSA looks like. We will talk about home ownership and we'll do a similar activity as to how we were looking up cars, new and used. We'll look up some different homes. We'll look at different housing types because again, one of the biggest things that I want to challenge everybody to start changing how we see things, you know, especially for our communities, whether we say it's Indigenous African Nova Scotian or we're a new immigrant or person of color or whatever. Right now, and I'm just trying to keep the fast facts, there is a huge agenda in the world by people that have lots of money and power to make sure that people that are in the middle class, we can say, own nothing. It's not my word, literally not my words, this is quotes, right? And so right now, a bunch of different countries along the world, the leaders, and I put quotations because they ain't really the leaders, but the people in charge are agreeing with this. And so what happens? It's definitely in the States where, you know, the market's a little bit different, but it's also in Canada where you have companies buying up houses, right? And the cost of housing is continuing to go up. And so why does that impact us, right? When we think about budgeting or investing, that's why it's so important that Santino knows, you know, 5 people that he can pool his money up with, right? Or Betty knows that if I want to launch a business or I want to build this idea, there are different people, just like what Michael was saying, strategic partners. Right? Because the reality is that if the lowest, like you could get a house for 200K in the city 5 years ago. Right?
Different revenue stream.
Toilet paper.
But when we think about houses now, the exact same house might be $500,000. Right? And so again, as we continue to look at budgeting, how do we have that conversation? Because maybe not everybody needs the biggest house. Right? Maybe that's not our first goal, right? Because a lot of things, oh, I need a white picket fence, I need a driveway, I need a garage, I need 10 bathrooms, whatever the example is, right? But the reality is that, especially now, we're in the era where the first move you make doesn't have to be your last move. Right? So you can't say, oh, well, my goal, if my end goal is this, then I got to take the steps along the way. Right? So maybe if I want to have, and this was a conversation that I had with my partner. Because literally the conversation is like, we ain't never gonna live nowhere. We ain't never gonna live together. We're gonna be living with our parents forever. This was legitimate conversation we had. And I was like, yo, we can end up in a single family house or in whatever we're looking for. But there are some things we got to do before that. Right? And so one of the things we did was moving into a duplex. Right? And so the reason why I'm talking about that is because even if it's a goal of ours to own a house, live in a single family house, own a house in North Preston, Cherrybrook, like wherever it is, that can be a great goal. Doesn't have to be our first step, right? So there can be some other things that we get along the way. As an example, if we are pooling our resources with other people, right? You save up 10,000, save up 5,000, get 5 other people that do the same thing. It's a lot easier money-wise to run the business that way. Yes, partners sometimes can be a headache, but that's also if it's not a good fit, right? So Gina has other siblings, right? Other family members. And so if Gina is interested, not to give away your ideas, Gina, but if there is a business idea that they've been talking about, because there is, it's easier having 3 people on board to put that energy in than Gina saying, well, I'm going to have this version of the business, and them saying, I'm going to have this version. And you got 3 different businesses, right? That everybody's scattered. And so it's the same thing when we think about budgeting our time, right? Takai's friends can be all on the game, but it's beneficial if he has or finds some other friends that share some other interests, right? It's not that hard, right? Some of my friends, we don't talk about less of my friends, you know what I mean? I'll say most of my friends now, we all talk about the same kind of stuff. Even if before we didn't talk that much about it, just because that's where we're all at. We all want to find ways to make our families better or have a legacy or have a business or get money, right? And so that's just the challenge that we have to really have more and more. Like, it doesn't all have to be on you, right? Santino doesn't have to solve all the family problems or opportunities. You don't have to solve them all by yourself either. But you have to find the people around you that can help you do those things quicker, right? And so when we think about housing, the first house doesn't have to be a duplex, or you don't have to buy an apartment building, right? We had a guest speaker in that was talking about, and I'm just trying to, keep it as specific. One of the things, they bought a mobile home, flipped it, made a bunch of money. You move on from that, you buy something else that's a little bit bigger, right? So there are a ton of different steps. So even if you don't have, like, literally, when we went to try to qualify for a mortgage, like legit, the first conversation with somebody that we had, this man was, y'all seen Little Rascals? Y'all seen the movie Little Rascals? You know when they go in with change and they trying to get a bunch of wood and you give them cardboard? Yeah, that's what it felt like. We were like, so what can we qualify for? He was like, this desk, like nothing, like, right? So it takes time. It takes energy, for real. And it feels like that though.
Because then she ended up getting a different job.
So, but you never know, right? Yeah, but at that time, based on where we were at, he was like, oh, you qualify for like, nothing, like nothing. He said some numbers, but it was, I'm not buying anything with that, right? So, okay, well, we said, okay, well, here's where we're at right now, but okay, what else would we need to do? Okay, so is it a different job? Is it a different income? Is it reducing our debt? Right? Is it increasing our credit? So we tried to take that big, oh my gosh, we sound like we're never going to get nowhere, to what are the steps we have to get an approval for this, right? And so it's the same as when Michael was talking about, get rid of the don'ts, get rid of the maybes, get rid of the nevers, right? Flip the language and focus on what can we do before I come to you, you know, and especially when we think about financially. One of the biggest things that I'm still working on, but if we want to go forward, if we want to have a family, right, Gina? If we want to grow our business, right? If we want to do stuff with other people, one of the most powerful things, just like when we talk about disputing negative thinking, is changing our perspective, reframing. So one of the biggest things for reframing is changing from I can't afford this to how could I afford this? Right? Because it changes it from being like, I'm forever broke to there are some things that I got to do. If I do those things, it's not magic. Literally, it's this step, this step, this step, this step. All of a sudden I'm there. Right? So this is why we talk about goal setting has to be action oriented, right? Or oriented. Because if I say I want to get from A to B, or I want to get from A to C, I'll never think about B and I'll never want to do the work. I just want it to happen, right? You can't wake up better. You can't wake up successful. You can't wake up happy. You have to practice it, right? But it's tangible. We all have bad days. We're all like, and this is what I'm trying to normalize. If you have a bad day, it's not just you. There are days where I wake up anxious. There are days where I go to sleep while I sleep. And when I wake up, I'm anxious the whole time. I'm thinking about something the whole time. Thinking about where's the money coming from, right? It doesn't matter how much money you get. Everyone has those thoughts. The more money you get, the more you also you're going to have those thoughts. Because if you have employees, right? When we have stuff, everybody else gets paid before me. I'm paid less, period, if I get that, right? And so it's reframing it because yes, you might not have all the things you want now, but if you're open to asking the question about what do you have to do, all of a sudden it's just steps. No, I don't own a business for cooking food. But if I was gonna do it, what would I need? Oh, well, I'm already a chef. Okay, well, I'd have to register the business. I have to do it. Once you talk about steps, what do I have to do? It's a completely different conversation because you are in a position of power. You're not asking. You're not saying, well, why not me? You're saying like, I got this, and there are some things I got to do. So you're being nice, you're being kind to yourself, you're giving yourself permission not to have it all figured out. That's okay. But you're also holding yourself accountable to say, like, these are the things that I have to do and the things that I can do. And if I do those, focus on those steps, I'm going to get this contract, right? I'm going to get the house, or we're going to have 2 kids, right? And we'll be able to get in daycare or have a business, like whatever it is that we want to do, as long as we ask, what do we have to do to get there? We're giving ourselves a plan. So tomorrow we're going to pick up on that. All the stuff that we're saying is what we've been talking about. That's why we do SMART goal setting. It's not just for a goal. It's literally for everything, right? When you're intentional, you're not just like, oh, I want to feel better today. Well, what does better mean to you? Right? Like, what does a good day mean to you? A good day for Betty is different than me, maybe. Right? You know, my good day is no coffee. Yeah.
Mind your business.
Yeah. That's you on Team Coffee. Look, crazy. But as we think about this, right, we want to make it more and more automatic, like reverse engineering, which is just building backwards. That's something we can do in all areas of our life. And a lot of us do it already. Right? So it's finding those different themes to make stuff easier for us. So everyone tomorrow got to come up with one quote. Actually, two quotes. You got to come tomorrow at 9 a.m. Don't say, oh, I didn't have it.
Mine are already in my drive.
A new quote. Well, you got a different one?
I got all kinds of.
We gonna see them. Quote about having to do with finances.
Didn't that change the game?
Money make the world go round.
Well, so there's a whole range, but it has to do something to do with finances, and it can't be his quote.
Biggie Smalls.
No.
Financial
No.
quote.
Biggie, do what?
Financial quote.
We'll see everybody at 9 tomorrow. Hope you feel better, Hussein.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you.
At 9 p.m. in Korea.
No one better not steal my quote on. Oh, I got my one word checkout.
Go first.
Strong.
Hey, Angela, we're going right down the line. One more checkout. Don't say bye. Peace. Oh my goodness. What you got? That's sad. We got? That ain't no one word, Sakai.
And he CYA it West Elliott too.
Oh my goodness. Finance.
What's the word?
Just one, just a day.
One word then, you know.
Peace? P squared. Okay. Okay, Asia, what's your one word? That's all. What's your word, Gina? Bye. Oh my goodness. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Right, you guys better give Gina a hug, you will never see you again.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Nafisa. Back tomorrow online at 9 a.m.
Okay.
On Friday? Yeah.